Yes, we're back here with a Rice Exchange special edition out of Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, the 8th edition of the Future Investment Initiative Institute, a global get-together for leaders across the various platforms for business and entrepreneurs. And we've got here live in Arise Studios, one of the entrepreneurs in African traditional sports. Let's talk the business of sports in Africa with Maxwell Kalu. Thank you, it's good to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Talk to me about the business of African traditional sports,
Yes.
how viable it is. What's the concept for you as an entrepreneur?
I just think it's a hugely exciting time. So sports, we talk about traditional sports, but more broadly our market is combat sports. That's the fastest growing sports segment in the world, estimated 550 million global fans. So that's boxing, MMA, and what we're doing in traditional sports is we're elevating our traditional sports, primarily Dambe, which is kickboxing native to northern Nigeria, and we're using that to go after the global combat sports market. And it's going very well.
Interesting. What investments are you looking at here in making this work? Where can we view it across Africa? 200 million Nigerians to start with,
Yes.
1.2 billion Africa. So you've got the audience. Talk to me about the money.
Yeah, so in terms of the money, we're here in Riyadh announcing some very exciting news. So we're announcing an investment from Silverbacks Holdings, one of the leading investors in sports on the continent. So they've just come on board as an investor in African Warriors. So just really showing that we're attracting the right investors in terms of our vision for building the future of sports.
How old is your institution?
So we're about 5 years old now, and over those years, so first we had to start with modernizing the sport. So that's working with communities across Nigeria, especially the north, just to get access to the athletes, bring the community on base. And then from there, we've just been able to build it. So we've been able to secure over 700 million views on our content thus far. Our partnerships, in terms of revenue-driving partnerships, headline partnership with Stake.com. Stake is one of the biggest sponsors of sports globally in the world. They sponsor the UFC, they sponsor Formula One, and they sponsor multiple football teams. We brought them to Africa as their inaugural sponsored property on the continent. So just to demonstrate that traditional sports that many Nigerians still consider, local and are not paying much attention to, are actually driving real attention, especially internationally. And one crazy thing that a lot of people don't know, as you'd imagine, Nigeria is our top market in terms of audience. But after Nigeria, we have Brazil and the United States.
Really?
So just showing, there's real export potential. People are interested in combat sports globally. And we, Nigeria, we've been doing so well to export athletes. Think about Anthony Joshua, Israel Adesanya, Kamaru Usman. And now it's time for us to also elevate our sports and join them there.
Very interesting. And you're working on this as a first step out of northern Nigeria, an area which is a little bit very little bit challenging. Talk to me about how you'll be able to put boots on the ground to get this traditional sports out of the northern corridor of the Nigerian space.
It's all about community engagement. So we have a really strong team that goes into these communities. We do content, we film in Kano, Katsina, Kaduna, multiple northern states. And we're just an embedded team locally there. We're capturing content, we then distribute that content globally. And I think the thing is, this just signals the real CSR aspect of what we do. As you mentioned, there are many challenges in northern Nigeria, and I think we really need to wake up to the opportunities in sports. So with this sport, we're turning, boys that are coming from the most challenging part of Nigeria, and we're turning them into star athletes. And this is something that can open up new employment opportunities. These guys are already providing for their families by competing, and there's an entire economy around the sport, be it media professionals, be it athletes, coaches. So there's so much this can contribute to the Nigerian and the wider African economy.
This is very heart-touching for me, because an area in which we've had insurgency, and you've got young folks without jobs, without school education, formal education whatsoever, and they're just looking for something to get by. And now you're taking something they've got, traditionally speaking, and you're making it not just national, but global.
Exactly. Exactly.
How much story are you hearing on the ground in terms of using this as a way of fighting insecurity, in a manner of speaking, taking folks off the devil's workshop, in a manner of speaking, and give them gainful, sustainable employment?
Exactly. I think there's a huge opportunity. they say if you speak to a man in his language, you speak to his heart.
Exactly.
And that's very much what we're doing here. Dambe is a sport which goes back thousands of years in the north. So we're working with a sport that many people know, love, and understand. And we're saying, look, this sport, as good as it is, we need to bring it to a wider audience. So it's not that we're going in and sort of changing anything. It's more just tweaking certain things that can make this sport more palatable on a global level, and making sure that we're holding the traditional essence of it, but at the same time we're interacting with the global opportunity around combat sports. And we're seeing great feedback. We've had some great feedback, especially from the Ministry for Culture, and Creative Economy, the Ministry of Sports previously. So we're seeing more and more sort of at government level understanding around it, especially at state level. Government of Katsina has been very friendly and very great with us. So just more and more, we're just going to show that this sport has been a traditional pastime for years, but now it's time to turn this into a global business. In the same way Afrobeats has turned into an export for Nigeria, sports must be an export for Nigeria. And as I said, the numbers are already there. 700 million views, content views out of the US and Brazil. I'm biased, but I would say that no other Nigerian sport, be it football or basketball, has the same international global traction as our sport in terms of Dambe, because nobody else can do this. You can watch football anywhere, you can watch basketball anywhere, but if you want to watch Dambe, traditional sports, combat sports at its purest, you have to come to Nigeria, you have to watch it through African Warriors Fighting Championship.
I'm sure Nigeria is your opening corridor into sub-Saharan Africa, and including in North Africa as well. Where I say you're going after Nigeria?
Yeah, and I think that's the exciting expansion opportunity we have. So Senegal, for example, has a huge culture of wrestling. That's their national sport. So very much eyeing up opportunities there. We've had some great engagements already in Riyadh, engaging with the Senegalese delegation. So we're going to explore those opportunities. But aside from that, most African countries have some form of traditional sports. Even where I'm from, the southeast, we have wrestling, which is very different to Dambe. So there are multiple opportunities. And for us, we see African Warriors being the umbrella organization for combat sports on the continent. So be it traditional sports such as Dambe, if it's boxing, if it's MMA, all things combat sports. We're producing the content, we're doing live events, even athletes. We're placing athletes in global organizations like the UFC. That boy that can box in Mushin, that has no way to actually, for people to see his talent, we're the people to take him global. So we're getting started, and it's been a great 4 or 5 years so far, and there's much more to come.
Maxwell, exciting.
Thank you, sir.
Exciting. You know, this is a rice exchange, but here we're talking sports and bringing money, business and finance together. And sometimes you just think that a conference or a summit such as this is about just a big talk in other sectors, but sports, traditional African sports, is also big business. Thank you for being here in Riyadh. Very interesting.
Thank you
so much once again.
Thank you.
We appreciate you speaking with us here on the Rice Exchange.
Thank you.
Have a great day. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.